Pum, pum, pum. Damn. Definitely louder than I expected. I'll probably do a video going through all the parts that I put on it. Oh yeah, the auto blip. So fun. Welcome back to the channel, guys. If you're new here, please make sure you subscribe and support the channel, or at least like the video if you did enjoy. I mean, come on, how can you not enjoy this R1 noise? Or these downshifts? You can't not like that. Just it's as simple as that. Gotta warm up the tires a little bit. Bumpy road. So yeah, I'm on my way to meet with a couple friends, and I figured why not film a video. I think this is gonna be just an actual review video. I never like to do a review video like right when I get the bike. Ooh, a little distracted by these downshifts with that auto blip. Ow, I just smashed a bug right on my chest. Woo! 2020 C8 Corvette. That was beautiful. In all white. That's gorgeous. Alright. I don't know. Where do I start? I love this bike. And expect to pretty much see this bike more often, because this is, yeah, I know it's a little ridiculous that I have this bike as a daily. This is a track bike, not a daily bike, but you guys already know I'm obsessed with super sports, and I always like to get the top of the line, and I've always been obsessed with the R1Ms, or the R1s in general. The R1M was just a little bonus. With all the carbon and the electronic suspension and the Olin shocks and everything. And just a little extra. But I've always liked R1s for the crossplane, the looks. Well, I'm not gonna lie. These are the main two reasons why I like the R1s. That crossplane noise, as you guys can hear, and pretty much the looks. I've loved the R1s ever since they came out with the 2015 model, which this is what this R1M is. It's a 2015 R1M. But, you know, the updated new look. I'm pretty sure, like, this is a kind of bike that people that do know and do not know about bike are into. And they just look at it and it looks extremely aggressive. As you guys saw on the start of this video, it's hard to kind of like avoid. And this R1M comes with a beautiful brushed aluminum tank, as well as the swing arm. Yeah, the swing arm is also brushed aluminum. So it's very, very nice and pretty. Got that as a bonus for looks. And of course, it's like full of carbon fiber. The whole front is carbon. The whole side panels are carbon, except for this little guys here. But whole kind of front side all the way to the belly is all carbon, which is absolutely beautiful. But yeah, like the sound of this bike and the looks is mainly what sold it for me. You know, I like the way it looks, very aesthetic and aggressive, and it sounds amazing. What else can I ask for? And obviously it's like plenty of speed. I know it's not the fastest, kind of like top speed and just horsepower wise, but it really does the job. Like, again, I have the H2 for that, so I wanted another fun, thrilling ride that is still very, very fast. And this bike does it for me. Well, this is perfect. Out of service, so I can just park here since I'm not really getting gas. Looks mad aggressive with the toes. Yeah, as I was saying, so this is an aftermarket carbon piece, so it doesn't really come with that, but the whole underbelly, kind of like to the side right here, front tire hugger, the front face, all real carbon, straight from the factory. And I don't know, it was really hard to beat the aesthetics of this bike. Oh shit, that still sounds loud with my damn earplugs. Pretty good with the earplugs. I'm probably screaming at you guys, so I apologize for that. But you know, I don't want to lose my hearing, so. Ow, actually made that light. Alright, but let's get this review started at last. Well, I kind of started before talking about the exhaust and kind of a little bit of why I chose this bike. Yeah, I was telling you guys that I really kind of like didn't want to give it a review too soon, and I feel like this is like a good time to finally talk about this bike and give it a proper review, since I've had more like seat time on it. Yeah, it just wants to come up now. So yeah, this bike has a lot of settings, and some of the settings include like wheelie control and launch control and all that stuff. Obviously, if you know me, I have these settings turned off so I can have more of a fun and a real ride, you know, with not as much electronics kind of like involved. Love these tires. Whee! So yeah, I was talking about like pretty much why I chose this bike, and therefore pretty much like the review is is pretty much why I ended up with this bike. And as I told you guys, it's mainly because of the way it sounds and the way it looks. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that was like kind of the selling point why I chose this over like a ZX-10. Actually, talking about the ZX-10, I would have probably chosen the ZX-10 if I didn't have an H2, but I chose this bike because I have an H2, and I just didn't want like kind of like a very, I know the ZX-10 isn't a similar bike as the H2, it's very different, but I wanted to have something different, you know. The ZX-10 would be a like perfect all-around bike, but I don't know, I felt it didn't have as much character as an R1, let alone an R1M. So yeah, like, I just think this bike from most leader bikes fit me the best, just also because I have the H2. Like, I keep the H2 kind of like for, if I'm racing people, why the fuck are you going that slow? If I'm doing like straight line races or any of that kind of stuff, then I have the H2, and that bike is a bike that kind of like just destroys pretty much everything on straight lines. And I wanted just a fun riding bike that looks pretty good and sounds good and is somewhat unique, and I feel like nothing describes those besides an R1M. I was like, do I hear sirens? These earplugs are really working. I was like, started looking in the back mirrors and shit. It ain't me. Watch out, people. Watch out, people. Got like the rumble of this exhaust. I just love it. That crossplane, so fun. And the way this bike looks, I don't know. It's really hard to beat, especially with the M package. Like, every time I look down, I see R1M. Like, come on, those little details, they really make the bike. I'm not gonna lie. And according to a lot of people that I want to agree with the fact that a lot of people told me that this bike rides very different than a regular R1. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I feel it a little bit, just not too much. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's like placebo or if it's real. Because let's be honest, I'm not a professional racetrack rider, so, you know, like, it really doesn't make that much of a difference for me. I just got this bike because I'm obsessed with carbon. I was going to replace most of these parts with carbon anyways, and I don't know, like, why not have upgraded parts, electronic suspensions and Öhlins shocks and all that stuff. My train of thought isn't the best today. I mean, is it ever the best? I feel like it's always bad, but you know what I mean. Alright. Actually, I probably shouldn't be in the fast lane film a review, but god damn, this exhaust is loud. Like, it really sounds like obnoxious, and I'm wearing earplugs. I'm not those like cheap spongy earplugs. I'm wearing like proper earplugs. It sounds hella loud. But like, I honestly can't describe this bike other than the fact that it's like the perfect fit for me. Whenever you're trying to buy a leader bike, or any motorcycle for that matter, you should always never listen to, like, a review is good to understand what each bike kind of like provides, you know, what each bike is kind of like. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't buy a bike based on a review, because it's really based on what you like, not what, you know, which bike is the fastest or coolest or whatever. I'm personally, I've always been obsessed with the H2 for numerous of reasons, and that's my dream bike. It's just, I ride a lot, and I can't ride the H2 every single day. So with another bike that's also like amazing and cool and fast and sounds cool and unique, you know, like, I just didn't know what to get. I got the Ducati 1199 and it just wasn't the right bike for me. And then I crossed upon this deal, and I don't know, I was just like, I've always liked the R1s. I was looking at R1s before getting the R1M, and for about what, like $4,000 or $5,000 more, I can get the R1M, and to me it was pretty worth it because it's just more than the R1s. I'm like, why not? You know, it's the top of the line. This bike is just like, to put it into perspective or to compare it to other bikes, I think this bike is more unique than the ZX-10, the Gixxer 1000, and the Honda CBR 1000 RR or the Fireblade, whichever one. I think this is a more unique vehicle that you kind of compare to like the Ducatis, the Aprilias, because it sounds different, it looks different, you know what I mean? Like all the other bikes I just mentioned, from the Japanese motorcycles, they all pretty much sound the same. But with this bike, you have that mid-range, which is really true. That's the point of the crossplane. You have so much power in that mid-range, in between like, I want to say like 7,000 to 8,000 RPMs. There's so much power in that kind of like mid-range, and you really feel it. Like it really kicks you back, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, as I was saying, to compare it to this bike I would say it's on a comparison level with like Aprilia or a Ducati, where they're more of a unique bike, and they're just not, oh, it's just another leader bike. The BMW S1000 RR, that's also like somewhat of a unique vehicle, just because it's BMW, you know what I mean? It's a German brand, and it's very different, and like the way they do things are different. It has heated grids. There's a lot of stuff for the BMWs, and I feel like this fits in with these bikes more than with the ZX-10, the Suzuki, or the Honda. I'm not saying they're bad bikes, but if you guys know or have watched any of my videos, you know I like bikes that are a little different or unique, and this bike is definitely that. And that's obviously one of the reasons. Another one is just like, it's obviously very fast. It's just like any leader bike. All leader bikes are always going to be very fast, and way more than you'll ever need on the streets or even on the racetrack, unless you're a professional person, because I'm sure you guys have heard stories or know people that have 600s and they can lap thousands just because they can ride them better. It's a lot of bike to ride on the track, so I totally understand that. So that's what I'm saying, like, you never need 1,000, but if you want one, like, why not get one, you know what I mean? This bike is still obnoxiously loud. Like, it's just going right through my earplugs, and it's like barely helping muffle anything. But yeah, so this bike is kind of like that sweet spot in between. It's slightly more on the uncomfortable side just because of the riding position of the bike. It sits a little high and you're leaned over, but yet again, it's a race bike. Your main concern isn't comfort. If that is one of your main concerns and you want a sport bike still, then you should probably get like I think a Honda is very known that they're like the most comfortable out of all the bikes. I know also the ZX-10 is somewhat comfortable, but you know, if you really want a sport bike and one of your main kind of like things you're looking at about these leader bikes is comfort, then I definitely wouldn't suggest this. But I will say that this bike is more comfortable than the Ducati by a lot too. No way I'm making this light. So this is pretty much it. I feel like this is not even a review. I'm gonna label this video as why I chose this bike and not any other leader bike, because I didn't really review much about the bike itself, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is pretty much it for this video. Yeah, this bike is just very personalized to me. That's pretty much why I got it. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.